Yes, so with the building committee, if you would meet back here in Kenneth Wilson's class right after the church service, we'll be glad to entertain any question you may have. Yes, I'm Jeff Jones, Chairman of Finance, have been for 18 years, I think. Just to give you a word of warning when they ask you if you'll take a job. Anyway, got 4 things we'd like to go over. 4. Before I get to there, though, I'm going to start right here. I know one question that comes up all the time. What are you going to do with the old church? The old church. I don't know. So don't ask me that question. You can ask the building committee back here in the back. But we're praying about it, and I encourage you to pray about it. I'm sure God has a plan, and we need to pray about it. But what I do want to talk about today is the new building, the new Family Life Center, and I'd like to go over 4 things. One is where we started. If you remember, I was up here on January 15th, 2012. Time gets away. That's a year and a half almost ago. And presented a presentation on where we were going at the time. So, 1, where did we start from? That's 2, where are we now? And 3, where are we going? In other words, what our goals are. And 4, how are we going to get there? In other words, the finances. So, next slide. This is from the old presentation. You'll notice, actually it's been updated. Added a little building out here on the right side of the pavilion. That's for the barbecue. Next slide. Again, this is from the old presentation. Just like quickly go through these. This was a possible uses we considered at the time, and actually we're planning on using it for all those now. Wednesday night services, youth activities, fellowship hall. We got a huge amount of room there, and church services. Next slide. You remember that? That's looking to the west. No building is there. Okay, next slide. That's looking to the south. Actually, you can see the church we're at right now, the church building in the cemetery. This is looking directly south, and the new building is now located here. Next slide. Spacious parking lot. It's still there, and it's still spacious. Next slide. Now, this is looking from Highway 27. You can see the new Family Life Center here. You can also see it if you go drive up on top. You'll go up on the second level, and you're looking across. This is, you actually come in on the second level, and I'll show you more pictures later. Next slide. Ladies, we promised 4 toilets. Count them. All right. Also got 3 sinks, although we do need a volunteer to go put some toilet paper on the rolls. Next slide. This is looking, if you go up on the upper level and you look off, you'll look towards the east and you'll see this view right here. Actually, we have a subcommittee that's working on making the worship area worshipable, and we're looking at putting it here. There'll actually be a divider going across here, and that's already ordered. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. We'll set up chairs in this area. My understanding, y'all correct me if I'm wrong on the worship committee. And in this area, looking back this way, preacher will preach over here in the altar. You can already see a chair right here. That's a recliner. I don't know who's that belonged to. It may be my dad. So I don't. He's getting ready already to move up there. He's getting his chair set. Okay, the next slide. It's been said, I don't know who, somebody famous said it, that a person, let's say a church, without goals is like a ship at sea without a rudder, just going around anywhere hoping it's going to hit port somewhere, and usually never does. So we have to have goals in order to progress in life, and it's very important that our goals are written. If you don't write them down, just don't even bother to make goals. But here's what we challenge the church with. One is move the Wednesday night service to 7:31. That's the last Wednesday of this month, and we're trying desperately to get there now. Matter of fact, Glenn mentioned the sheetrocking going on. The reason we're doing that now is because somebody mentioned, hey, you got all those steel studs up there, and the kids, kids will be kids, and they could get cut. So that's the reason we're going ahead and sheetrocking that now. And they've got a crew up there working, and it's 5/8 sheetrock, because you can imagine how heavy that stuff is. And that should be done here shortly and start painting, as Glenn says. Move the Sunday morning services by October 26th. That's the last Sunday in October. That's number 2. Number 3 is to start paying off the principal of the loan. We'll talk about that a little bit more since I'm finance chair. Just so you know, our interest is about $75 a day. That's what it costs us for what our loan is. I know I travel a lot and I can't get a motel room for that. But anyway, number 4 is to pay off the loan in 6 years. That's our goal. Next slide. So let's see where we've been. This is the money that's been spent on the 17-acre side up here. So if you look down through there, the land, the earthwork, architectural fees, so on and so forth, then you'll notice this right here. This is what's been spent on the Family Life Center, $1,364,000. All that, if you total all that up, that's $1,979,000 that's been spent so far. From that, we have incurred a bank loan of $850,000. If you take that from that, you end up $1,129,000 is actually cash donations that the Lord has blessed us with since 2006. That's absolutely amazing. Now, if you're a business or whatever and you go to the bank and you want to borrow money, what do they look at? They look at this. That's your balance sheet. Look at the assets minus the liabilities, and you end up with your equity, which is really important. Okay? Equity of over $2 million. So, we're not broke. Okay. So if you look at next slide. This breaks down the $1,300,000, okay, for the Family Life Center. This is what our budget was that we presented on January 15th, 2012. We had a budget of that. The Gentech contract came in actually at this, and in the end, their contract came out $1,281,000, actually $47,000 less, and it was a not to exceed contract. So we came out really good there. Direct expenses is what we've spent since the contract was complete. Okay, trying to get the building ready to occupy. So to date, we've spent this much, and right here is what I'm here today. Tom's always very reluctant to preach on money, and I admire him for that. However, the finance chair can do that. Okay? I'm not a preacher, but I can ask. So next slide. We need $50,000 roughly to get it to where we can move into worship. And if you would pass out this sheet, I actually got a copy for everybody. So if you would, it's already passed out. Okay. So the sheetrocking, that's actually going on right now. We need to pay those guys. So the worship area, $40,000 is roughly what we think it needed in order to make that area worshipable. We do not want to move up there if we can't worship there in a meaningful, worshipable way. Okay? And we're not. Tom will tell you that.
That's right.
So, but you divide that 40 up, you'll see the curtain divider. We've already ordered that. The audio visual, it's going to take some special audio visual in order to make that place work. And we've hired professionals to do that. For the altar area, another $8,000 in chairs. Chairs are roughly $34 a piece. We can't really use these pews. We've got to have chairs that you can physically move, and we have a room to store them in. And, chairs are roughly $1,600 for 50 chairs, and with that they throw in a roller, you can roll them in and out with. Later, we're going to need some overhead fans in order to move. These are great big fans in order to move the heat down. Right now, we've got cooling, and it works perfect. You'll get cold up there, I'm afraid. And parking, we can spend whatever. We got 10,000 square yards that we can put tar and chip on. It's $6.25 a yard. So if you want, let's say a 20 by 20 area to park your car on, it costs you $300. Okay, this is our number one challenge. I say the money. I don't think the money is a challenge, but this is the next slide. The fire marshal says that we can only put 650 people in that building. I'm sorry, that's it. That's all we can put in there. The next person, 651, has got to stand outside. All right? But here's our goal, number 5, is fill it up. Fill it up for Jesus. Let's fill this building up. Thank you.
And the only thing I'm going to add to that is that in regards to the current facility we have here, we are going to use it for God's glory. And I'm in charge, or heading a group of people within the congregation to look at, evaluate, and be sure that we honor and do right by this place and make sure that it's used to glorify the Lord. And so as we get together and meet, I'll be informing you as to what we're looking at and thinking about. And we're open for your suggestions and input as well. So please see me if you have questions about that. Again, if you have questions about anything Jeff said, just meet in Kenneth Wilson classroom after service this morning. And let's just give God all the glory and all the praise for all that he's doing. And having concluded with that, it's time for our offering this morning.